In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a roller coaster track that the camera will follow along. And it's actually a really interesting effect when you're done with it. So we're going to start out by creating a path by going to the Add, Curve, and then choose a path. Now I'm in top view right now. What's going to be important that you do when you work on this is that you shape it in both front and top view so that you have curves and hills in this. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of shaping, go into the edit mode, and I'm going to move some of these curves around here. At this stage I am just in top view, so I'm going to get the footprint for my roller coaster, and now I'll start extruding. Okay, and so we'll go there and then extrude again and extrude again and again, and eventually I want to come around and come back to where I began. Now at any of these extrusion points I may be going into front view in a moment here and creating some hills for it. Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to make sure both points here are selected. Okay, so maybe I'll type A, make sure that this point, and I'll shift click that one, and then I'll type F to fill it, and then we have a closed in path. Now I'm still in top perspective mode, and this would be an interesting racetrack perhaps at this point, but I want this to have more of a roller coaster feel to it. So now I'm going to go into front view, and I'm going to pick a few of those points and GZ them up in the Z direction as well. So we've got a couple hills to go through. So let's see, we'll go GZ, move that one up, and one more GZ. Okay, so this is top view, this is front view, and if I kind of zoom in now here and take a look, you can see that I'm sort of going to have a roller coaster effect on this. So I'll go ahead and get out of edit mode, and you can kind of see this as we orbit around a little bit better. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to add in a circle, a Bezier circle. Okay, so I'm going to go into top view for just a moment here, and I'm going to add in a curve and one of these circles here. Now I want to scale it down to about half the size. So I'm going to do an S 0.5 and then enter, and that's about half size. Okay, and I'm going to go into edit mode now, and I'm going to move the entire shape to the left of the center point. So I'm going to go do a G, and I'm going to move it over about like so. Okay, and now I'm going to duplicate these and move, so shift D, and then I'm going to move another part of it to the right side. Now it doesn't have to be exact, but the better you can do it, the better it's going to look. Okay, and some of you know how you can use some of the tools to do that. So that would be that. Okay, and that is all I need to do for a moment. I'm going to get out of edit mode and go into object mode. Now my roller coaster, I'm going to scale up a little bit bigger, so I'm going to hit scale and I'm going to bring it out just a bit bigger. I want to make this fairly large. Okay, and you'll see why I'm saying that in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go about that large. It's going to be pretty large. Okay, next we are going to duplicate this track. Okay, so we're going to actually have two copies of it. So I'm going to right click, make sure my track is selected, and I'm going to shift D. Now I actually have, oops, and I don't want to move it. I'm just going to go ahead and press the left mouse button. I actually have two copies of this now. Okay, I have a path and a path 001. Alright, so I've got two copies, and you'll see what I'm going to have to do with that. With one of them selected, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the one that just says NURBS path up here. Okay, I'm going to go to the object panel data for this, and I'm going to go to bevel object, and I'm going to choose my bevel circle. Now you'll see that probably my circle was too large. The circle that I created was too large for this to be an interesting roller coaster track. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. I'm going to select this object here, and I'm going to scale, and I'm going to bring it down to a smaller size, like that. Okay, now I'm going to try again. So I'm going to select my path, and I'm going to bevel object and put the circle on it. And this is looking a little better. Okay, so starting to look like a track that I might be able to follow. Still, I think it's a little too large for my taste, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to make sure my circle is selected, and I'm going to scale down just a bit more. Okay, then I'll go choose my path, choose the first path up here, bevel object, and turn it into my circle. And that's better. Now this isn't a very complex roller coaster at this point, but this is what I want it more to look like. Okay. Now if your track doesn't look very good, you might need to go into edit mode and Control T on some of the points to twist them more a little bit. And this is good enough for me at this stage. But you may want to tinker around and make your roller coaster a little bit more exciting than mine is. Now comes the challenging part. What we're going to do is I'm going to select the other path. Now this one is down the center of this, so you can see it right here. So that one's selected right there. Okay? And I'm going to just move it up just a touch. So I'm going to go into front view, and then GZ, and I'm going to move it up just a bit. So I'm moving that in the Z direction. What we're going to do is we're going to have the camera follow along on this path. And if it's up just a bit, it's a little bit easier to work with. Okay? Now, we're going to parent this camera to the track. So here's how this works. We're going to first select the camera. So I'll select the camera, and then while holding Shift key down, I'm going to select that path. Okay, now it's really, could be a little tricky. It might be easier to do over here in your tree menu. So again, I'm going to start with the camera, Shift, and select the path next. Okay, now see, I'm not seeing it very well. So which one? There we go. Okay, now I've got the second path, the one that's up a little bit higher selected. So both of those two are now ready to parent together. To do that, we're going to hit Control P, and then I'm going to choose the option that says Follow the Path. Okay. Now, once that's done, I can go ahead and only select the camera, and I'm going to try to get the camera here to be looking straight down my path. Okay, so the trick on that is I'm going to have to get in camera mode, and I'm going to have to G that around a little bit. This is going to take a little bit of work, so I'm going to G, okay, I'm going to get that there, and then I'm going to R, rotate it, and I'm going to go into camera view and see what it looks like. It's getting a little closer. So this, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so you don't have to watch me struggle with this, and I'll let you struggle yourself, and I'll come back once I've got the camera kind of positioned the way I want it to be positioned. Okay, I worked on a little bit. One of the things that I noticed, and you may notice if you try to animate this at all, is that, and I'll show you in top view, is that we have to remember which way the path is pointed. I had my camera looking backwards, so if I were in a roller coaster, I'd be looking out the back. And I can show you what I mean. If I choose that path and I go to edit mode, you can see the direction of the arrows. So I decided to rotate my camera, but you could have also changed it so that if you were in edit mode, you could have gone and changed it to switch the direction up here. Okay, so there we go. I am now going to go get out of edit mode, go into camera perspective by pressing 0, and I'll show you what I've got so far. Now, one of the things I have right now, but before I play this, is I've got the frames on this to end at 100. I'm going to set this out to end at frame 250 instead. Okay, so 250 will go ahead and let it cycle through my whole animation. Now I go ahead and play it, and you can see what it might look like to be on this roller coaster. Now you may want to modify the camera angle a little bit. I might tilt it up or something, but that is giving you a perspective of what it would look like to be on this roller coaster. Now, one of the things that's missing on this, I think, is having some texture in this roller coaster rails so that it looks a little bit more realistic and we can see what's really happening. So if possible, I'd like you to add some textures. Now I'm going to show you a little trick to this. I'm going to go into the N window here, and when we add textures, you want to go under display, and for shading you want to make sure that GLSL is selected, and then also select textured solid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just add a quick texture on this to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go to select this object here and go to a material. Now the question is, do we need a material on it or not? Well, I'm not sure anymore. I keep hearing and reading different things about that, but I'm going to have a material, and now I'll go ahead and add a texture on, and I'm going to find an image. I'm going to pause this for just a moment because on my Mac I need to determine the location of the images, and I'll be right back. Well, it looks like I forgot to pause it while I was tinkering around here. Anyways, here we are at near the end of this, and you can see that I've got some texture on it. And now I'll go ahead and play this, and you can see I also had to add some lighting. I converted it into an object, and now you sort of get a better sense of what this might look like. And so have a little bit of fun with this, play around with it, show me what you can do with it. Also, when you're done, I'd like you to add, as a challenge, I'd like to see if you can add some tunnels into it and add some other objects for it to float by and take a look at. So have fun with this.